DAO Watch, episode 31. In this episode, we discuss Dash and whether or not they're going to fund Crowdnode's MiCA compliance. MiCA is government extortion. No. MiCA is regulations here in Europe for crypto companies to abide by. But it's a very interesting conversation from my point of view as it pertains to privacy. And is MiCA compliance allowed on a chain that has privacy? Let's find out more. We're also going to discuss Metis, which is a massive L2, and their possible partnership, I guess, with WeaveVM from Arweave. We're also going to be discussing Arbitrum and their Security Council elections. And finally, we'll be discussing Cosmos. Maybe not in this order, maybe in a different order, but we'll be discussing Cosmos and their vote of no confidence in the ICF. So basically, there's a lot of really interesting discussions around DAOs and centralization in this episode. I'm Crowdnode. This is DAO Watch episode 31. Please enjoy responsibly. Let's take it away. Hello and welcome to DAO Watch episode 31. We're really getting through them. I'm really excited to have you here. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. In this episode, we are going to be covering Dash. We're going to be covering Metis, which is our guest DAO. We're going to be covering Cosmos, and we're going to be covering Arbitrum. If you are a member of any of those, a community member of any of those projects, make sure you like this so that more people get to see the discussions that are happening around your DAOs. Make sure you share it with your community members so that they can come and comment on this video and more people can see what's happening around your DAOs. We're getting some traction with this show. We're getting more views and we're trying to be a little bit more stable. My name is Crowdnode. I have been in the DAO space since 2016, I guess, properly, as an active member of the PivX team. No longer a member of that team, have moved on a while ago, but still like to follow DAOs, including PivX, and still like to comment on them and like to contribute. And this is how I'm contributing. So let's get started. So Dash. A few days ago, a man called Andreza has walked into the Dash Discord and he has requested $10,000. He wants $10,000 to fund a MiCA compliance, which is the markets in crypto assets regulation that is in the EU. So European regulation. This will allow his private company called Crowdnode to be compliant and operate in Europe. He's put out his reasons why, what the pros are, and what will happen if they don't get it. If they do get it, it will build their trust, their credibility. It would allow them access to the EU market. And if they don't get it, they risk being sanctioned, they risk being fined. Ultimately, they risk being shut down. These things are all risks. I'm not sure at the moment if the MiCA is mandatory or if it's optional. I'm really not sure at this point. However, he's asking for 10,000 euros, which is 550 Dash, for 3 months. So I'm not sure if that's 30,000 in total or $3,300 each month, so on. So Crowdnode, quick background on them. Crowdnode is a shared masternode provider, which means that if you have less than 1,000 Dash, which is how much Dash you need to run your own masternode, you can have a portion of a masternode if you give Crowdnode this 1,000 Dash, or a portion. So you might give them 100 Dash and you've got a tenth of a masternode. Now, I'm not sure if they have their trustless setup done now. I'm not sure. So I believe you can freely give them the Dash and return the and ask for the Dash back. Anyway, that's kind of not important, and I don't want to go into those minutiae, those minute details, those nuances, because I don't want to get something wrong and get shouted at. If I do get something wrong, feel free to leave a comment in the description, in the comment section down below. That's where you go to say, CryptoC, you're an idiot, you've got this wrong or you've got that wrong. You can also go there and say, I've done stuff right. Also, don't forget to click the like button. So we've discussed what MiCA is, and they've come through and they've started this proposal. So I've immediately jumped on it a few hours later, well, maybe even a few minutes later, because as I've seen this, I've read it. This to me is a massive deal. The reason why is because MiCA in itself, it has got a few small bits which are hugely important to how governments interact with privacy projects. Now, recently, pardon me, I have to put that on. Recently, the founder of Telegram was arrested for not showing people's private messages. If you send a message to, or if you send a payment to someone else and it is private, is that a suspicious behavior? One of the things that you have to do if you are MiCA compliant is you have to report all suspicious behavior. So the immediate thing that sprung to my mind was, if Crowdnode become MiCA regulated and they get their regulation, do they have to report every single time somebody sends a payment to them that has either gone through CoinJoin or uses funds that have previously been put through CoinJoin? Another way to put it, because you can't pay through CoinJoin. You put your money into CoinJoin, you get it back, and it's clean. But there is a history that you know it's been through CoinJoin. So if you use that money, that clearly washed money, clearly laundered, clearly mixed, clearly had its previous history wiped, they did it. Sorry, my family is shouting at me. Would that be construed as suspicious behavior? Now, if Crowdnode are MiCA compliant and they don't have to say every single time they get a payment with funds that have gone through CoinJoin, then that sets a precedent which says that CoinJoin funds are not in any way suspicious inherently on their own. They're not inherently suspicious. This would mean that exchanges could now not have to worry about receiving funds that have been washed through CoinJoin, or CoinJoining funds themselves and then sending it out. They would be allowed to do that. So from my point of view, that makes this a pretty huge proposal. The first comment that I made was that Dash aficionado Grandmaster Dash would be furious with this proposal, as some people do see regulations as being government bribes or extortion from the government bodies, etc., etc. Okay, so my question was, could you outline exactly what compliance with MiCA regulations looks like? What does Dash as a network have to provide? Like, what information do you have to provide to the government about your customers? And could you let us know that in as simple terms as possible? I'm going to put a link to this discussion down in the description below, so that you can go into Discord yourself and see it. For me, to round this up, I've explained exactly why I think this is very important. There are two aspects to it. First of all, does this show that privacy by itself is not outlawed? If they get this compliance, if they get this regulation, knowing that they work purely with Dash, does it mean that privacy coins are outlawed? The fact that it's a mixing system and not a zero knowledge system, would the government see the two things differently? And also, as a privacy coin and a DAO itself, should the DAO be funding government extortion? And that will be the discussion that needs to be had. As I said, it'll be extremely difficult for Andresa to accurately say what compliance looks like, as they're really at the beginning steps of this. I would also like to know, and the question wasn't answered, is would Crowdnode be considering CoinJoin funds as suspicious or not? Because I believe that is really the crux of the value in this proposal. And I believe he should answer one way or another, but he hasn't. Nerd Money has said, not sure why masternode owners would want to start paying government extortion license fees when it just make more sense to pass these costs down to Crowdnode customers. I think yes, but I also think no. I think yes, if Crowdnode could afford it, if they were making enough profit to afford this, then yes. But I think that Dash on the whole, as well as the wider privacy coin industry, especially within Europe, stand to really gain a lot. So I really do think Dash should or could seriously consider funding this. I've chipped in again. And I think that's, could you clarify if Crowdnode would consider these funds from CoinJoin suspicious or not? And he hasn't answered that. No, he hasn't answered that. Okay. And the conversation rages on. So for me, I think it's well worth Dash funding this. I think that having the argument about whether or not mixed funds do constitute suspicious activity in and of themselves in European law is well worth knowing. And I think this is the perfect way for us to find out. Nobody outside of the Dash community will probably see this, which is why I've decided to add it to this actual video. For me, one last point is that the proposer is also trying to make sure that he puts the proposal in at the right time, which is good treasury management. It's nice when these proposers actually work with good treasury management to make sure that they're not treading on the toes of other proposals. So this is a nice touch. He does say, let's say you get the funds from the treasury, get the license, then we find out that KYC will be a crowd. In this case, first, I can imagine there will be a need for KYC for custodial members. I think KYC, for me personally, it's almost a given. If you go through MiCA, you're definitely going to have to do KYC, as far as I can see. I can't see a way around it. If you had to take guess, how likely would that possibility be? MiCA is not AML. The current AML law has been in place since 2020. We've not been forced to do KYC of our current setup, high transparency and one address principle. If we completely eliminate AML risk with an even tighter process and governance around the one address principle and get it externally audited, proper accreditations, that I cannot find one valid argument for a need to do KYC. Interesting. However, there might be someone on the other side of the table to fail to understand the details, but so far we've been met by very reasonable people from the Danish FSA. Yes, they are in Denmark. I believe it to be very likely that we get a MiCA license and I'm not forced to do KYC. Okay. I am surprised by this, but that's awesome news. Okay, proof is in the pudding. Let's see if it happens. I want to move on. Let's move on to our guest DAO. Let's move on to our guest DAO, which is Metis. So Metis have got this proposal, which is not going to start until next week. And that is to integrate WeaveVM. Now, this proposal has been put forward by the guys at Arweave, I believe. And what it is to make there be a data availability layer or integration, maybe not a layer, maybe an integration, data availability integration on the Metis chain for the WeaveVM. What WeaveVM will do is allow you to store your data in the WeaveVM. And they do have, believe, excuse me, no, they haven't got, no, let me see if we can see it here, a comparison table as to how much cheaper this will be than the other DAs that are available. They give some history of Arweave. What they're really asking for really is for the Metis marketing department to acknowledge WeaveVM and to do some joint proposal, some joint marketing, and to help allow the developers to know that WeaveVM is available and is integrated with the Metis DAO. This is what I had built around before, a partnership between decentralized entities or even centralized entities to decentralized entities. However, Metis doesn't have a partnership framework. If they did, you would probably see that be used here as opposed to this, which is quite a generic proposal, albeit it doesn't have an amount of funding that it's asking for. So, proposals for co-marketing collaboration to maximize the impact of WeaveVM. So what I would have done with my decentralized, my DAO alliances or PivX alliances framework or protocols, you would have, these people would have got in touch with the marketing people. There might have been some funding which would have funded the co-marketing efforts, or there might not have, but it would have clearly said who are the people to contact on both sides of this partnership, why the partnership is being put in place, for how long it's going to be put in place, and what they're going to be doing specifically within this partnership. So it would have been kind of the same, but at least you would have known who you're going to be speaking to or looking to for updates on how the partnership is going. And you can also set more realistic targets so that you can look back and say, has this proposal been a success or not? With this, it's very vague. Announcement on Metis communication channels to introduce WeaveVM and the archiver. It's not very concise as to what they're doing, or precise as to what they're going to be doing. For me, this proposal's not up yet. I can't vote on Metis proposals, so I don't have their governance token. But if I could, I would definitely vote yes for this. I would also like Metis to have a partnerships proposals framework, but they don't. Nobody does away from PivX. I don't believe even Dash do. So I think it might be something that really I should start working on, and I might do if I find the time. But for me, it's a yes. It's a well written out proposal. It brings in another competitor to the Metis ecosystem, expands the ecosystem a little bit more. It's good for developers because they know they can now use WeaveVM to store their data as and when they want to. So for me, this one is a yes. This is off-chain voting happening on Snapshot. So whatever happens here kind of doesn't enforce anything, but what it does do is it does give a very clear indication as to what the DAO was. So let's move on. Cosmos. Let's talk about Cosmos. We have a mutiny aboard Cosmos, a mutiny. So here is a proposal which is, I believe, excellent. The proposal is excellent. And this really shows the amount of engagement that we are getting in certain corners of the Cosmos ecosystem. This is the main corner, I guess. This is the center of the Cosmos ecosystem. So what this is for is a declaration of no confidence in the Interchain Foundation leadership, a call to action. To summarize this, I guess, here's the full text of the proposal. Let's visit this website. Oh yes, I forgot. The way this guy has done this proposal is phenomenal. He's basically put all of the information that he wants to use in this proposal into a GitHub, so it's available for everybody. And he's kind of set it all out, and he's shown it all, and he's shown table of contents, he's shown the foundation guide, the foundation timeline, and this is brilliant. In case you don't know how the Interchain Foundation works, you can come to this document here, and you can literally sit down and read the timeline and see what's been happening, people who have been leaving and joining the timeline. But I will summarize it. Effectively, what the problem is that the ICF are not being held properly accountable. And they're not being held properly accountable by their own selves. And the Cosmos ecosystem are calling them out. And as you can see here, by the fact that there's more yeses than there are nos, they are voting for no confidence. We have a huge amount of abstains. I think the abstains, you can't really garner a lot into what that means outside of possibly some kind of political or partisan hackery. Why aren't these people who have abstained voted one way or another? I personally feel that all of these people who get to vote, the validators, they should vote one way or another. This is not, or especially if we pass quorum, this is not a proposal that you can sit on the fence on. You have to say, I feel one way or another. They want these guys to start producing reports. They want to know, where is the money from this foundation going? What is the foundation doing? We need answers, basically, is what they're saying. I'm one of the people who voted yes on this. This is one of the best proposals I've seen all year. It's amazing. ICF was given 10% of the supply. What have you done with it, etc., etc., etc. It's very wordy, but it's still very concise. It says exactly what the Declaration of No Confidence means. A petition for comprehensive annual reports. This is something that they should be doing anyway, right? If you've got shareholders, which this is the closest thing that a DAO like this is a publicly traded company. If you've got shareholders, you have to be answerable to them. Otherwise, you get action like this, which some might say is a mutiny, others might say it's a vote of no confidence, which is exactly what it is. Yes expresses no confidence in ICF's leadership and supports the petition for reports and potential FSAF involvement. No does not approve this proposal. Abstain contributes to quorum without voting for or against. So abstain, I guess you are saying, if nothing else, that whether these yes or no's, whichever is in the lead, we have to take that seriously, and we have a huge amount of abstains. These abstains are probably from US-based companies that don't want to rock the boat one way or another. That's one reason why you get abstains from large holders, venture capital firms, etc., etc. 0 validators have shared their thoughts on this proposal. That's disappointing. That's very disappointing. If I was a validator, I would share my thoughts on this proposal, and I believe they all should. Voting ends today. It's ended. It's passed. Well, okay. But I do like that. When I actually researched this, voting was still ongoing, but yes, the voting has ended this morning. Okay. So there is no confidence. Overall, for me, I agree. I'm glad this has been passed. I'm glad that the people did abstain at least and allowed the people who did have the balls to vote one way or another to vote. And I'm glad that this has passed. Let's wait to see these things. One of the comments which was in the forums was that this is not enforceable. Now, there is a line here, or a portion of a line that says potential FSAF involvement. Now, I don't know who FSAF are, but I'm assuming that they're a government body within Switzerland, which is where I believe the ICF is formed. So I'm assuming they're a government body within there. This will be very interesting. What happens when a DAO has a centralized entity and that centralized entity goes rogue? I think we're about to see some precedents set here. I really do. So let's see what happens with this. This is one that we should keep an eye on. Will the ICF be able to... Well, I'm going to do this like a Batman episode. Will the ICF be able to just carry on doing whatever the hell it is they like? Will the people who actually own Atom coins be able to get the government to come with their guns and violence and throw the ICF in jail? Please tune in next episode of DAO Watch to find out what happens next. Arbitrum. Okay. What are Arbitrum doing? Oh, well, Joe, we've got some really, really good proposals and DAO stuff happening in this episode. Arbitrum have a security council. The security council are the overall controllers. They are the gods of a certain network. Arbitrum has a security council. I believe we can see who the security council members are. But they have a security council. What does a security council do? Well, a security council can roll back transactions, create blocks, turn your wallet to zero. They do what they like. They are the security council. They call them the security council, but what they could call them is the bots. If I've got this wrong, comment down below, because I may get this wrong. But as I understand it, that's what the security council can do. They can do anything they like. Now, in the fact that they can do anything they like, that is what people complain about with Arbitrum. That is what makes Arbitrum centralized, that you have this security council. Now, essentially, they're all public-facing people to some degree, or they are organizations or companies. So they wouldn't just go rogue and just decide to change everything so it's all with them. But these are the people. Ombre, Matt Feiberg, Harry Collander, so co-founder of Off-Chain Labs. Then there's a little thing on all of them. I believe there should be 6 on each. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and another 6. Yeah, so it's 12 in all together. So these are the disciples. They are the Arbitrum disciples. They are the dirty dozen, if you will. These are the guys who really control the entire network softly. So they don't do anything, but if something goes wrong, these are the guys who can pause the network. These are the guys who can roll back something. If you have like a big hack, they can do it, and they can do it fast. And that's the reason why these things exist. They are a safety mechanism. Until we have, I believe it would be a decentralized sequencer, would be the alternative to a security council. for an L2 until Arbitrum are at a scenario where they want that on mainnet with everybody's funds. These are the guys that you have to worry about controlling things. They are having elections. So you can see who's going to be the next person. You could put your name forward. I'll put my name forward. Why not? You could put your name forward to become a Security Council member. I believe you get paid about $5,000 a month or something like that. The pay is very good, but you have to, you're not going to be the type of person who that pay is going to matter to. You're going to be quite a big Ethereum, at least, if not crypto, player. So it's got to be neither here nor there, that amount of money, I guess, right? Every 6 months, there are elections to fill the seats, and one group leaves, and then the next group comes on board. So the electoral process has started. This is not really one of those ones where you get to vote on yes or no, but you do get to vote on who you want to be a nominee. So here's how it works. Up until the 15th of September, you have call for candidates. This is where you can go forward. You can say, I would like to be a candidate. My name is Cryptosi. My hobbies are football and playing Xbox. I'm extremely handsome, and for that reason alone, I believe I should be a candidate. I should be a Security Council member. Plus, I promise not to, send all of the funds to my own address. And I promise, Scouts on, I won't do it. Fingers crossed. Then you submit. Oh, sorry, got that wrong way around. This is the time when we get the word out there to arbitrary people. Then you put your submission in the following week. Then the nominees are selected. Delegates nominate their preferred candidates. So I guess the delegates are the people who are in charge of voting on your behalf. So they will nominate their candidates. And finally, compliance check is done by the Arbitrum Foundation. This part I don't like. Why do you need a compliance check? I would like to assume that the compliance check is done during the nominee selection. So if somebody is selected as a nominee who the Arbitrum Foundation don't like, I don't know if they nominate, Joe Biden, and the compliance team are like, well, we can't have this guy. He can barely string a sentence together. Do they then kick him out? How are you adding centralization on top of the centralization that already exists? And also, why does this compliance check need to take 2 weeks? Anyway, and then there's the elections, final 2 weeks of October. Delegates vote on their preferred candidates, and voting power will linearly decay, if not cancel, in the first 7 days. Okay, I like that. This is a nice touch. So basically, the earlier you vote, the more power your vote will get. I like that. This is something that we could learn from in DAOs. After a 13-day grace period, the 6 candidates who have received the most votes will officially join the Security Council, replacing the September cohort from last year. And yeah, that's going on. So keep an eye on that. I will be updating you to say who the candidates are. So we'll come back to that. Actually, we will come back to that on the 13th of October. So we'll come back to that on the 13th of October, and we'll see who the candidates are, and we can discuss about who we would vote for and why. And I guess I can vote for somebody. I need to get some ARB in the meantime, or become a delegate on Arbitrum. It's one of the chains I am considering becoming a delegate on. No decisions made as yet. Thank you for watching. I've been Cryptosi. You guys have been great. Please make sure you go and buy the book. And please like and subscribe. Please share this if you're one of the projects, or you're interested in any of the projects that I've discussed today. If there's anything or any projects you'd like me to cover, please put them down in the description below, in the comment section below. Whether you're here on YouTube or you're on Twitter, because I now post on Twitter. Make sure you follow my socials. Twitter at crypto_SI, or YouTube Smart Reach, which will be called Crypto CTV soon. And go to DAOWatch.blog and check out the website. I'm going to go and put back up the Alliances protocol there. I want to go and really reboot that and really try and get that across some other networks whilst I'm doing this whole delegate work. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in episode 32. You have been brilliant. Adios.